So, again, can I ask, is that news to you, or have we had this discussion in rehearsal? The same discussion about balance and making sure that the soloist is supported. I'm betting you have done this before, right? I've been in this position where I've had my band at a festival. In fact, I've brought my band here before, which is insane, trying to bring my own band and put on a festival. It's like, but there's nothing more frustrating for your director than when a stranger gets up in front of you and tells you things that you've heard before, or asks you for things that you've been asked before, and you act like it's news. Trust your director. You have a wonderful director. That's how you got here to this level of music. So don't wait to be asked for things a second time. Also, do you know what an expert is? What is an expert? I am the expert. What is an expert?
Somebody who's very good at something.
No, an expert is somebody from out of town. We are all working, your director, me, everybody adjudicating upstairs, everybody here with a band, whether it's a grade 7 band or a grade 12 band or a college band, we're all working with the same set of tools and the same set of possibilities. Okay? The only limit is the instruments, or the people on the instruments have pursued excellence. That's what I hear with you guys. You have pursued excellence and you've achieved it. Okay? That's the job of a good teacher, is to inspire you to pursue excellence. And you should pursue excellence in every single thing you do. What's the point of anything otherwise? Why would you choose to do something poorly? That's a very poor choice. Choose to pursue excellence and you'll be amazed at what you can do. Because this is amazing. Look at the level of details we're looking at. Tiny stuff. Okay, a few minutes on Arabesque before I melt. Flute soloist was you?
Kayla.
I have only one ask of you, and that is in bar 2. The rest of it was also good, but in bar 2, what we heard was a quarter note followed by. So you need to express that articulation, and that it's basically a written out acceleration, right? Although you don't have to do it particularly in that time. You're the soloist, so you're kind of in charge. Nothing we can do about it. But we need to hear those articulated, those notes articulated. Ta 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 ta. Whatever you do. Can you double tongue? Not well. Work on that. Can anyone hear double tongue? Fantastic. Great. That's kind of necessary in this piece at times. So this went along beautifully. Occasionally, however, we are, as an audience member, we kind of lost track of what we were supposed to be hearing. Sometimes there was competition for what would get primacy. I was waiting for a fight to break out. It was starting to sound like a hockey game. Because the dynamic was creeping up, and you'd hear the dynamic creep up around you, and people would creep up, especially on the mezzos. They always creep up. And we started to not know what to listen for. We have to be careful. The general rule, as I'm sure you've heard, is that long tones are typically background. In any, art in here, what kind of room is this? In any painting, you always have foreground and background, right? You got a tree and there's a wheat field. We're kind of sure which one is the foreground, not tree. So in music, the tree is the melodic line in the most simplistic terms. And then we have long tones, wheat field. Very important, but supporting role. We have to be careful we don't overtake the melody. It gets a little more complex when you get into a piece like this, because there are many lines competing for attention. Before we get into that comes a little bit later. It was good all the way into 41. At 41, I want to hear you play right now, please, because we weren't all playing our marcatos the same. And also, the bass clarinet, the tenor sax, and the baritone sax have an extra 16th that the rest of the band doesn't have. and I wasn't hearing that extra 16th. Do you know where your extra 16th comes in? The end of beat 2, right? The end of beat 2. Everybody else has 1 and 2 top, 1 and 2 top. You just have that last 16th. You guys have 1 and 2 and up. You have one more 16th, and I wasn't hearing that. Can I hear, please, right now? Are you playing? Do you have a double bass part or a tuba? Great. And do you have 3/8 notes and 2/16 at the beginning of that bar? Great. So I want to hear you. Baritone sax, tenor sax, bass clarinet, bassoon, and yes, bassoon as well. Just those people, because I couldn't hear this second 16. Your tempo, is your tempo about here in this? Sorry? It's a little fast, 116. Okay. Can I hear you people, please? 1, 2. Good. Basses watch, one of you is a little low in pitch. Move up the string a little bit. Down the string. Down, up, down. And that needs to be really clearly expressed. If you see those 2/16ths that you have on the second half of beat 2, the first one is staccato, the second one is marcato. Top, 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 top. Can you say that with me? 1, 2, 3, and top, 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 top. Top, 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 top. Those people again? Ready? And top, 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 top. Play it like that. Because you, by the second bar, it was kind of there. The first bar, no. Ready? 1, 2, 3, and 4. Thank you. Top, 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 top. So be careful. That's a 16th rest, and so the syncopation in that second half of the bar falls across the 16th. You're changing it ever so slightly. Once more. 1, 2, ready? Yes. Can I ask that the tide across 16th to 8th, tighten that up a little bit. Put some space between that and the last note. It is accented, so don't drive it forward into the last note. Because in this section, things started to get a little, it started to shift a bit because some of you were playing that long and being a little bit late for that and of 4. And we all hit the and of 4 marcato together, ideally, in a perfect world. Everybody please at 41, and I want to hear the people with 2/16ths within that sound. It's fortissimo. You were underplaying. Okay? Now those of you who weren't just playing, I'm not saying I want more from you. You were fine. We need that lower part. Here we go. Ready? Everyone? 41. That's nice. We're together. I would still like, we still need more of the lower voices. What do you hear more than anything else? Can you hear one instrument more than anything else? And I literally mean one instrument. I'm not going to point any fingers. So, and he's not overplaying. He's not overplaying. He's playing the correct dynamic, but he's not being supported by everybody. Taking a full, complete breath, having really good support, and playing an actual forte. We must have more second trombone, more bass trombone, more of all the low brass and woodwinds, okay? And more second and third trumpet, okay? Because he's kind of hanging out there on his own. You need to move to him. He's at the right dynamic. Also, still, I want to hear top, 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 top. Okay, that last note on beat 3. Top, 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 top. Sorry, I'm sorry. I missed it for rhythm. Top, 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 top. Ah, Jesus. Top, 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 top. Shorten up that tide over 16th, 8th note, please. Put some space in there. Ready? 41. Ready? 2. And the balance is so much better. So listen, please. mustn't, as if you're playing a second or third chair part, you cannot think of your part as less important. If everybody in the room was only playing first chair parts, the audience would run, because it would sound awful. It would sound like some kind of weird Arabic Gregorian chant mashup, because you'd have open fourths and fifths. It would be terrible. The second and third chair parts, you've got to be there. Don't underplay, please, because otherwise, again, you end up with a shrill sound. So that's really good. That's much, much better. Oh, I'm going to get the hook in a minute. So when we get into 70, especially, 70, then before that, 66, 62 for 4 bars, 66. This just started to lose clarity. And it's not that you weren't playing the rhythms correctly, but we weren't entirely together, and we weren't entirely sure, it didn't sound like to me, that we were aware of how our different parts fit together. Okay? So I would like to hear right now, at 62, anybody who plays on beat 1. Just the people who play on beat 1. The rest of you have an 8-note rest. So if you play on beat 1, including percussion, play now. That's clear, and you were together. That was terrific. Balance is pretty good. Okay, can I hear now, please, everyone who begins with an 8-note rest? Okay, if you have an 8-note rest on the downbeat of 62, play now. Ready? 3 and 4 and 1. Okay, good. Be very careful. That first 8th note at 62, don't lengthen that, please. It is an 8th note. At this tempo, an 8th note is Don't lengthen that, because you'll go into the rest, and then we lose clarity. The quarter note at the end of the bar. It's a full quarter note, but don't allow it to be longer than a full quarter note, okay? Articulations are crucial. When you have the slurred passage at 63, 64, because you're slurring into 2 8th notes, beat 1 and 2 are together, beat 2 and 3 are together, but you're stretching them a tiny bit. Be careful, don't stretch them. Let's have everybody at 62, just these 4 bars. I want to hear it hang together perfectly. It needs to, you know, the term dovetail, woodworking term, pieces that come together like this, and they lock. It has to lock in. Ready? This will be the last thing we do, because I know you're tired, and I'm going to fall down. 62, ready? Think, be sure your rhythm is locking together. What is the one factor that you are ignoring completely? Would any of you venture to say that that's a mezzo forte? No. You're at forte, possibly beyond. So, quiet please. The people who play on beat 1, except wisely, let me see. No, the people who play on beat 1 are marked fortissimo. The people who have an 8th note rest are marked mezzo forte. So the composer has gone to the trouble of telegraphing the balance that he wants to you. We need to pull back. People with an 8th note rest, pull back a little bit. Here we go. And people at the fortissimo, it sounds good, but don't push beyond quality of sound. Are fighting with each other. Now we can clearly hear the melody, but we're also very aware of the secondary part, the counter melody that's happening. That's really good. So cut and paste through the rest of the piece from there on, and the audience will really be able to hear what's going on in the piece. That's fantastic work. So I know I'm asking you for things, and I don't want you to take it as a negative criticism. Criticism is necessary for you to grow, and improve, but these were positive criticisms because you were doing everything so well. We just refined a few things, okay? So I hope you enjoy your time here at the festival. Tonight, come and hear the World Music Group. It's unlike anything any school is doing anywhere. They're playing on diatonic marimbas, which is a music scale, and they're playing everything's head arrangements, and it's phenomenal. So come and see that. Tomorrow night, any of you play a jazz band? Tomorrow night, the group that we have, the Leading Ladies Big Band, is phenomenal, and a singer. So you're in for a real treat with that group. And Mr. Marcus Mosley. Marcus is, well, he's 73 years old now and has a voice that can cut through walls. I had him sing Into Freedom with my band last year, 90-piece band. Marcus came into rehearsal and I said, oh, Marcus, would you like a microphone? We've been working together for 35 years. And he just turned to me and said, oh. And he proceeded to drown out my 90-piece band. And he sings all from here. He is the kindest, sweetest, most wonderful human being you will ever meet. And his body is a musical instrument. The sound that he produces is phenomenal. When I talk about a full, complete breath, watch Marcus sing. Watch the breaths he takes in. Be careful that you're not near because you'll just get pulled forward. It's an enormous amount of air. So enjoy the rest of the festival. I look forward to seeing you in the Mass Band where you get to play the world premiere of the new Robert Buckley piece. So, and don't forget, bed in 1 hour. 4 to 8, right? Bedtime? What are you going to the concert? Right, bed right after the concert. Fast asleep. Thank you, everyone. It was just a treat.